Yo. A common pattern in strategy development in speedrunning is when a trick is found in a task setting and then implemented by humans once a consistent setup is found. Some of these tricks look so cool and are so rare to see in runs due to their difficulty that they are called swag strats. Swag strat can be found in many different speedruns, Luigi's Mansion being no exception. The strat that we're gonna be talking about today though, is on another level. It is a strat that is not difficult to do, but yet no one could do it in runs. It is so swaggy that it has the word swag right in the name. This is swag balls. The trick in question takes place in Nana's room in area 3. In order to defeat Nana, you have to knock on this table, which makes 3 yarn balls fall out of the basket. If Luigi shoots all 3 yarn balls at Nana, she's vulnerable and can be captured to clear the room. These balls always fall out of the basket in the exact same pattern, so picking them up when they roll on the ground is not that hard to do. However, being speedrunners, there was always the question if it was possible that this sequence could be performed any faster. Perhaps fast enough so that the balls don't even hit the ground at all. Well, this was very much possible. This is not a new discovery by any means. The task of Luigi's Mansion by Maleo performed this trick back in 2016. Just by the looks of it, it seems ridiculously precise. You'd have to release the balls in a very small time window, basically the frame you grab onto them, at a precise angle moving in a very particular way. Though as precise as it seemed, several Luigi's Mansion players, such as GC Forever and Bluits, tried out this trick in real time and were surprisingly able to pull it off with a lot of consistency. There seemed to be a magic lineup where the yarn balls would shoot out of the vacuum into Nana pretty much automatically and instantly. And thus, Swag Balls was born. There was just one problem with this strategy. No one could get it every single time. People were able to get it several times in practice, but failed it in a run setting. Sometimes the yarn balls would fly off into random directions. Sometimes the yarn balls wouldn't fly off at all. There seemed to be a pattern, as people usually were able to get it a couple of times, then not at all, and then seemingly randomly got it again. At the time, people had no other explanation for it apart from it being RNG based. This does not really make a lot of sense though, considering the yarn balls always move in the exact same way. The animation that Luigi does when knocking on the table is random, but did not actually make a difference in whether you could get swag balls or not. However, there was just no other explanation. Missing one of the yarn balls loses about 10 seconds due to having to reload the room to make the yarn balls and Nana respawn. This made it not worth the risk of going for this seemingly RNG based trick in a run, even if it would save about 3 to 4 seconds. With how optimized the any percent no out of bounds category has become over the years, this would be a huge difference though. People would go for this on worse runs to win back some time, but it never worked. The reason why? They were missing one crucial piece to this puzzle. It would not be until very recently that this baffling trick was finally solved. The date is March 19th, 2021. Me and another prominent strat hunter, Saria100, were going through the entire game looking for time saves. In a voice call, we decided to look into swag balls to see if we could find anything. After trying the trick countless times, our first thought was that it might be based on a global cycle, like how boosts switch after a certain amount of time has passed. We thought this because we would get it several times in a row, and then suddenly could not get it at all. This explanation did not seem to have a lot of reason to it, so we kept looking. We tried doing the exact same movement from Miss Petunia's room every time, to see if it had anything to do with when the yarn balls were loaded into the game, but it did nothing. That's when we noticed something was off. We started seeing a very strange pattern. One long day of testing later, we were able to present the solution. It might not be what you would expect. The question was, what piece of the puzzle were we missing? Well, what if I told you that missing puzzle piece was this? You might be thinking, what does this boo ball have to do with anything? Well, I noticed that I would never get swag balls on my first try, but I got it every time after I managed to shoot a ball and miss in the previous attempt. After a lot more testing, we were able to conclude that when you shoot an object with a vacuum, this shot gets stored. When you then grab something else and release it immediately, the object will fly off at the angle that the previous object was shot at. For swag balls, this works because the yarn balls detach from the vacuum instantly if Luigi is aiming the vacuum upwards. You don't even have to release the R trigger to shoot them, it just works automatically. The one problem is, in order to store the shot, Something else needs to be shot first. Only objects that can be shot by releasing are work, so not element balls or anything else. Our first idea was the ball you shoot at Bogmire to defeat him right before area 3, but this does not work, considering we re-enter the mansion after defeating him, which undoes the storage. In the current route, there seemed to be no object that Luigi shoots in between the start of area 3 and Nana's room. After carefully inspecting the task, we noticed that it actually manually shoots the first one of the 3 yarn balls to set this up, and then shoots the other 2 automatically. Sadly, this is considered to be way too precise to be used in RTA, at least from our current testing. Would that mean that Swagballs is useless in runs? There's nothing we can use for the shot storage, at least not without going too far out of the way, right? Well, this is where the boo ball, or should I say the swag ball, comes into play. Every room has both a real boo and a decoy. If you manage to spawn the decoy before getting the boo, you can carefully grab it and shoot it to set up the trick. The only boo ball you can do this with is the one in Tea Room, since Tea Room boo is the only boo we get in between the start of area 3 and Nana's room. In order for this to actually save time, you'd have to have the boo ball in one of the chairs close to Luigi, then shoot it before collecting the ice medallion. However, due to the various objects in the room that can have the boo, getting this to line up is pretty rare. Besides the luck element, it can also be tricky to set this up due to the somewhat wonky boo ball physics. If you get this in your run though, it can save you a couple of seconds, and it will be the ultimate swag. Runner Saria actually pulled off the trick in a marathon run shortly after the consistent setup was found. Although his setup was pretty slow due to struggling with the boo ball, it is a start to seeing this strategy being implemented in speedruns. In different categories, there's even more possibilities to set this trick up. In the all boos and all portraits categories, the boo ball in the laundry room can work really well. In PAL categories, you can use the angle from Moonshot, if you hit the very right edge of the moon, since PAL uses a different route where Moonshot is done before Nana. Even with the added consistency though, it will remain, by far, the swaggiest trick this game has to offer.
Oh, we got it. Swag ball.
I cannot believe that this was the answer to swag balls all along. I hope you enjoyed this video. I'm planning to make more of these kinds of videos in the future, so stay tuned for that. In the meantime, I'm live pretty regularly on my Twitch, streaming Luigi's Mansion speedruns, so pop in there if you're interested. Thanks for watching, and remember to do this every run. Bye!